Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Quarantine Kitchen. I'm your host, Paul Desman, and it's Memorial Day weekend, so we're going to take a more relaxed approach on this recipe. I'm going to make my grandmother's barbecued beef. And by relaxed, I mean she used to make this in a cast iron pot, and it made the whole house smell amazing for the entire day. But I'm lazy, so I'm going to use a slow cooker and let it do the work for me. To make my grandmother's barbecued beef recipe, we will need about 5 pounds of chuck roast, our good old friends salt and pepper, some quarantine garlic, a couple of lemons, some sugar, some ketchup, some apple cider vinegar, some dried mustard, we will need an onion, and our old friend some Worcestershire sauce. I start by washing my hands and bringing the lemons and onion along for the ride. Keeping it relaxed, I'm gonna just drink some beer while I cook today. I won't say what kind of beer, but I will say that if you do drink beer this holiday weekend, please beer responsibly. Or as I like to say, PBR. Grab a bowl and throw in a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar and a cup of water. Then grab the measuring spoons. Add a tablespoon of dried mustard, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1½ teaspoons of salt. And of course, as much pepper as you want. I'm sure there was a measurement here at some point, but this is Quarantine Kitchen. You'll need a 1/2 cup of ketchup and 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. The lemons are more essential to this recipe than I'd like them to be. Cut them in half, squeeze the juice into the mixture, and save the rest to put in with the meat later. Stir everything together, and if you see any lemon seeds that fell in, get them out of there! Next, dice up the onion, which is more essential to this recipe than you'd like it to be. Then separate it into another bowl and make way for what you've all been waiting for. It's time to chop up the meat! So you're going to want to chop the meat up into smaller chunks. This helps it break down in the slow cooker more quickly. And it does not have to be exact. Anywhere between the size of a golf ball and a hedgehog is fine. It's helpful to move the pieces to a separate plate as you chop. Actually, I just did this instinctively and realized later that I didn't have to since this was the last thing I used the cutting board for. Make sure you turn the slow cooker on and set it to high for the first 6 hours. Drop all the meat inside and then dump the diced onion on top of it. Then pour the sauce all over everything and make sure that you move the bowl around so that the contents can share in the joy. Remember those lemons? Shove them down into each corner for that essential flavor. I chose not to show myself adding what can only be described as an obscene amount of garlic. Most of it's there on top. After an hour or so, stir it up a little and give each lemon a little boop. Boop, 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 boop. If the feeling of impatience begins to creep up on you, don't be alarmed. This is normal. I suggest you get used to it, as basically all you're going to do for a while is check back every hour or whatever to move it around some more. If you have filled it too much and it begins to spill over a little, put a towel underneath the slow cooker. It will make for easier cleanup later on. After about 4 hours or more, you can start to use a fork to shred the beef. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't break apart as quickly as you'd like. Expect feelings of impatience to increase at this point. Again, after another hour or so, return with the fork to continue breaking down the meat. I pretty much watched the entire Netflix show Hollywood during the making of this video. What are you guys binging these days? Anything good? Feel free to leave suggestions in the comments. Now we're getting somewhere. All stirring should be done with a fork at this point. It's a good sign when pieces of beef start falling off the fork as you pull it up. Notice that the lemon rinds will break down eventually too. Remove any pieces of lemon shrapnel as you encounter them. This took about 7½ hours or so before my impatience got the best of me. I couldn't take it any longer and began to serve it up. Just drop it on a bun. I recommend piling it on. There is simply nothing else you need. Grandma would be proud. And that's how I make my grandma's barbecued beef. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to drop a like if you want. If you'd like to subscribe, that'd be really cool. You can click on my face right here. This has been Quarantine Kitchen. I'm your host, Paul Desman. See you next time.